Okay, students, in this video we are factoring trinomials. First thing we need to do is look at the coefficients. What would be the greatest common factor of 5, -15, and 5? And quickly I realized that I can pull out a 5 from all three terms, as well as an x squared and a y to the first. Alright, so essentially what I'm doing here is I'm doing the opposite of the distributed property, which we call factoring. So 5x squared y times what number is equal to 5x squared y? 1 minus 3y plus 1y squared. So essentially what I'm doing is the opposite of distributing, right? So this would give me back my product. So my answer here is that these two are my factors. So that's basically what we're doing. We are looking for factors. All right. In this lesson, however, we need to look at trinomials when the leading coefficient is 1. So this leading coefficient here is 1. So it appears that there are no common factors. Nothing goes into this, -9 or 18. So it appears to be that I'm done. This is prime. But in reality, there are two factors. I'm going to show you the fastest way to get this answer. So x times x will give me x squared. Now I need to think of two numbers that I can multiply to get 18, but when I add them I get -9. So two numbers that when I multiply those two numbers, I get 18. But when I add those two same numbers, I get -9. So what are those numbers? What numbers can I multiply to get 18, but when I add them, I get -9? Well, the answer is -6 and -3. If I add these two, I get 9. So these numbers are my factors. And if I use the FOIL method to multiply these two, I will end up with the initial product, or the initial trinomial. Alright, so this is the answer here. Let's do another example. Another example, just like this one here, when the leading coefficient is a 1. Another example could be, let's do x squared plus 5x minus 14. Same idea. The leading coefficient is a 1. So let's go into the factors. X times x is x squared. Let's think of two numbers that when I multiply them, I get -14. But when I add them, the sum will be that middle term, coefficient. Alright, so I can think of two numbers. I can think of 7 times the -2 is -14, and if I add those two numbers, I get 5. So that right there will be my answer, plus 7 and 2. So these are the two factors that will give me the original trinomial. So that's the main idea how we do this. There are times, however, when you will not get any factors, In such case, we say that that number is prime. Okay, let's look at a couple more really quick. So let's do 4x squared plus 18x minus 10. Now the first thing I want to do here is look at all three terms to determine whether there is a common factor. And there's a 2. 2 times 2x squared plus 9x minus 5. That would be the two factors. One factor, two factors. I got two factors here. All right, so let's explore this more in detail. You guys notice that the leading coefficient here is not a 1. All right, when that's not a 1, I have to come up with something that I call the x method. This first term is called the a, the b, and the c value. When I look at the x method, this is going to be the ac, this is the b. So a times c is negative 10. The b value is 9. Now let's come up with two numbers that I can multiply to give me negative 10 and a sum of 9. So I can do 10 times negative 1. So I'm going to rewrite this as 2x squared plus 10x minus 1x minus 5. So essentially this equation here, I rewrote it again down here, but now I'm going to factor this using the grouping method that we learned a few days ago. So common factor of these two is 2x times x plus 5. Over here we have negative 1 times x plus 5. So common factor is x plus 5, and we have 2x minus 1. Let's not forget that we have this factor over here. So all of this is my answer. These are all the factors. All right, take some time to review these. Let me know if you have any questions.